Welcome to Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 27th day of September. Hope everybody made it through this hurricane all right. I know that there was some damage down in Georgia and Florida there. Got a lot of rain here in Nashville, car blowing all over the road. I want to thank Nashvillians, though, for not going into work today. There's a lot of people didn't called in today here in Nashville. Made my job a lot easier. Got Mad New Yorker behind backstage here. He's back in action today. Going to talk about last night's game. Get his take on Trevor Lawrence from last week. And we'll go over this week's biggest college and NFL games. But first, stand by. We'll take a few short announcements here. We'll be back here shortly and hit the ground running here on the Real Sports Scope. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. Thanks. To get the National Streaming Sports channel on your Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports. There's the channel search in Roku. There's our logo right on the right, NESSP. Tap on the logo and it will add to your TV, the channel to your TV. On your laptop, tablet, and mobile phone, download the free Roku app and channel search just like above. If you don't have Roku TV, you have to order a Roku device from the Roku store. Hook it up to your smart TV, and bang, you have Roku TV. Again, channel search, National Streaming Sports. Click on our NESSP logo and add the channel. National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
All righty then, we're back here live. Mad New Yorker. Hey, buddy, how you doing, man?
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Robert, thanks for having me on today. What is up?
Man, a lot of stuff here. You know, it's a bad getting the remnants of that hurricane up here. It's rained all day, windy. It's going to rain until tomorrow. I hope this thing blows over in the next 24 hours or less. But other than that, everything's good, man. Got a lot to talk about, a lot of recapping. Let's talk about that game last night, man. You've been pretty spot on about the Giants really being under par, man. And, 7 straight. But was it 13 or 14 they've lost to the Cowboys now? This is not a great Cowboys team.
Right. So Dak himself has beat the Giants 13 times. Well, not himself, being on the team 13 times.
Right, and he lost 7 straight. I just think that, it's a professional organization. It's not a college. Like, it's not Tennessee, Florida in college where the better teams reloaded. The Giants get a higher draft pick every year. That's what kills me about the Giants. This team is 13 years removed from a Super Bowl win. Cowboys ain't won a Super Bowl in about 30 years. It's just a disgrace that they continue to lose to this Cowboy team like that. Thought they had really had a chance last night, but I did pick Dallas to win because, Dak seems to own these guys. It's like his home away from home up there in East Rutherford. But what's your thoughts, man, last night?
Yeah, I wasn't hoping for anything different. I didn't think that they would have an opportunity to even score that many points. Somebody mentioned how the Giants lost, and I was like, and I've been telling you, they haven't averaged more than 14 points in like 3 seasons almost. Like, if you take the end of the season that Barkley's been on, from the time that they went to the playoffs to today, they haven't averaged more than 14 points a game. Like, and a season. Sorry, not a game, but a season. So, what do you expect? I always ask people, who's going to score the points? Because Daniel Jones ain't putting out. Like, he ain't getting high ratings. If you have him on your fantasy, you ain't making more than 20, 30 points. Like, and Mahomes and everybody else and Allen and all of them are above 50, 60 points a game, right? So if you think about it like that, you're averaging, the average these quarterbacks make just on fantasy. This is not even like, that's not even gauging.
Really, yeah.
So, because fantasy is always and mostly individual, right? So, you want to talk about Daniel Jones, like he's a quarterback, and you're going to get what you're going to get. Like, having Daniel Jones is like having Randall on the Knicks. It's like, what you're going to get for them.
That's a good
paying
point.
Way too much money for them, and if you're hoping to become that all-star that
rarely plays well in the playoffs.
Right. So it's like, and I'm not going to sit here and be like they're not good players, because they are in a professional team, but because I'm sitting here commentating on them and giving my opinion. I will never say they're not good players, but they're not great players to be getting great amount of money, right? But then again, I don't like to talk too much about other people's money and what they do, but if you're getting paid, you gotta play like you're getting paid. I think that's what the contracts are for. I just want the agents that they have, because they get a lot more money for not doing much. So
yeah, that's true, and it's really all about 1 year. That first year with the ball, and this guy, you always average everything out. You just don't go with one average. I heard a reporter today on the Colin Cowherd show. He said this guy's going to be a bridge quarterback. So they're going to be in the market for a quarterback next year.
But they couldn't.
Whether they find him, that's a $64,000 question.
I mean, they had a backup last year. They should have just kept him.
Who, DeVito?
No. What's his name before he got injured?
The black guy. Pretty good. Been around for a while, but he's inconsistent too.
Right, but he showed up on the games when he played, and he was playing better. And then the other two.
They don't have a franchise quarterback.
But I'm not saying he's a franchise quarterback. What I'm saying is they had somebody like to drop the other guys who they're paying way too much for. So I mean, listen. It's still, the season's still young. Maybe they got Neighbors. I mean, he could throw the ball to Neighbors all day long, but you could tell he's going to throw to Neighbors, and he needs to use the rest of the players that got speed on that team. If I'm not mistaken, they mentioned like 3 or 4 times that the Giants wide receiver core, they're one of the fastest, in the top 5 of the fastest players in the league. So if you're only throwing it to one guy, it's like,
Yeah, they couldn't. I don't know why that Hyatt hasn't worked out. AC Knight thinks Washington's going to win it. I think their offense will get figured out. AC, I still like the Eagles, but I'm telling you, Eagles are really banged up this week.
Right.
It's a wide open division, guys. Tyrod Taylor, yeah, it's Tyrod Taylor is is consistently inconsistent. He looked great about 6 years ago. I don't know if there's something's up with him.
Well, he's
not the guy he used to be at Buffalo, anyways.
Yeah, but Robert, when he played the games last year, as much as he's inconsistent, he plays at a higher level, and he played better on like.
You're saying he's a better passer than
he's a better passer, and his football mind, you could tell, like he's making.
He's a smarter player.
Yeah, and he uses all of his players. He's not just like, oh, this is my blanket guy. This is no. He goes. He sees a field, and Daniel Jones is just looking one side, and you know, they almost picked him off yesterday, and it was close. I mean, and then the Singletary's inconsistent too. Like picking him up.
Do you think they move off the ball, or you think maybe it's just a Daniel Jones problem?
It's an everything problem, man. I said that when it happened.
You think the general manager's not doing nothing either, Sheehan?
Yeah, Sean and Debo. I told you straight up. Why would the Giants hire from a group of a team that has been inconsistently not been good from the Buffalo Bills? Like, had they come from another organization like Pittsburgh or even San Francisco, I would have been like, okay, they're a playoff team and they actually try to get further, you know, but they got these guys from Buffalo and Buffalo only look good because the Jets are terrible. Buffalo been looking good for the last 5 seasons because the Jets look terrible and Miami's inconsistent. So, you know.
Yeah, the Giants, 26 yards. They had no running game yesterday, man. And that's the Cowboys are 32nd in the league in the run defense.
Correct. And you know what? The Giants – and you can't do this with him anymore, but Daniel Jones should have ran the ball at least five or six more times. They would have had a better situation. They probably would have won that game if Daniel. But you can't force Daniel Jones to keep running if he's injury prone, right? So, you know, I'm sure there was a little bit of trepidation to try to put in more running plays for the quarterback, even though they did do it. He did have a few running
3 yards.
Yeah, but I mean, you know,
I thought they would have a lot more success run. I cannot believe that the Dallas only gave up 26 yards rushing in that game. And it was still a close game. They did cover the spread, but, you know.
I think that it was in the Cowboys' favor to score more points, and they didn't do it. And so now they don't look like the stronger team in the NFC East because they didn't beat they didn't put a spoiler on the Giants. So, but again, the Giants team isn't that bad as a whole. It's just the offense. Their defense is pretty decent. You see the guys that are working hard. So,
yeah, Burns there. They did get 1 sack. And see how many tackles for loss that they got. TFL 6 tackles for loss. I mean, they are pursuing the football.
Right.
Dallas has got injuries though. This division's actually up in the air statistically. When we go over that Philadelphia game, people's really going to be shocked at the injuries they got, you know. So I still think Eagles will probably win it, but I didn't think they're going to run off with it. I don't think they're going to get the 1 seed by no means.
No, they're not.
And it seemed to be proven right. Same thing with the 49ers. They're already off to a rough start with injuries, you know.
Right. No, this year is going to be a little bit more. There's going to be more parity for sure in all the divisions. And I say that because there are going to be a couple games that are going to be stolen by some of these worse ranked teams, and it's already happened in some of these games. So,
yeah. Quick take here: is Trevor Lawrence overrated, or do they simply need to get another coach there? Is Doug Peterson? Is he really the guy that's kind of slacking off at the end there at with Jacksonville or with Philadelphia, excuse me.
Right. So a little bit on Trevor Lawrence, like we've talked about it. He's had 2 coaches and since he's been there already. Yeah. There's some games where he comes out like confident and he looks like a little baby Jesus, and then there's other days where he's just like he don't know where to run. You know? and I feel like had he had a better and consistent running back and running game. Running crew, not just one back, but a running crew. And and if he had some of those things a little bit more consistent, I think he would have that confidence. I think when he looks around and he sees that he's missing a player or two on the offense, that he kind of just he falls short, and he, you know, like anybody else, he's like, oh well, what am I going to do, and who am I going to, you know, who am I going to throw it to, who's going to run the ball? And when you have to question that as a quarterback before even seeing what's going on, that's tough. And your coach, who's so passive aggressive, is not like gung ho and is not hyping you up. He's gonna, you know, he doesn't have
an
nobody,
ultra passive coach.
right,
He's very passive.
He don't have nobody to fall back on to even have a little bit of what's that word called, motivation, you know, like, so you have to be there, and you have to be that rock, you know, like this guy, he's not an Andy Reid. You know, he's not like one of those stern
They
guys.
need like a John Gruden type of guy there.
They need like they need a pick me upper kind of type of coach. And if they get somebody,
or maybe a Josh McDaniels at OC and Bill Belichick as the head coach. Of course, I don't want Jacksonville to hear that. He'd be here in Nashville. That may work.
I mean, but if they get another coach that's cerebral, because that team is so young, they're not going to excel, man. They need a coach that's a screamer, that's a get up and go, kind of hit you in your face kind of guy, kind of like Detroit's coach.
You want Bill O'Brien back in the league.
So they don't have no urgency because they're not motivated. They don't got.
I'm just messing with you.
Look,
I do think that Peterson's in trouble. I think that this team looks. It was a bad hire, a defensive coordinator. Look at the points they're giving up now, too.
Yeah,
you know,
that's another thing too. The defense not helping the offense not helping the defense. And look, if you're a coach that gets fired after the Super Bowl, something's up, right? Something has to. Yeah. There's something there. You know, you don't just get fired, you know, because you're like, you know, you screamed at the owner. You know, you get fired because there's something up, and there was something up for him, and he was on the hot seat before they got to the Super Bowl anyway. So.
Yeah, and I think they missed on general manager too. And I do think that there is a possibility the Giants may move on from both GM and coach there, and the Jacksonville may move on from coach. Although I would probably move on from GM, but definitely coach with Peterson. Peterson's just too passive, man, and they just don't look ready to play half the time. That Buffalo game, that reminded me of the Houston game last year where they got beat on special teams and stuff like that, and just they look complacent out there.
They had like 14 points on special teams before the Jags even scored.
Yeah.
No, but
I mean, it's that is all coaching, man, and you know,
that's a combination of. Yeah, it's a combination of a lot of things in Jacksonville, but I feel bad that it's put on Trevor Lawrence because I feel like if he was in a better situation, he'd probably be, you know,
I haven't given up on his talent, but I would put him as overrated as of right now. I wouldn't put him as a bust.
Right. No, but think about this. Purdy has every single weapon that he needs, and he's ranked at a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
The Purdy doesn't have half the skills Trevor Lawrence has.
Now, Purdy has had a very high QBR rating last week in a losing effort. That defense cost him that game last week. And Purdy's got a lot of injuries. He's actually subseeded expectations
that's what I'm saying.
With injuries.
Okay, so when you graded
key players last week.
Yeah, but when you're grading these quarterbacks coming out and you're talking about, you know, all of the opportunity and the potential that they have, and nobody would ever have said that Purdy was going to be one of those guys that's going to lead the team and be the kind of player that he is and get those kind of ratings. That's what they talked about for Trevor Lawrence. That's why he was picked in that. So, you know, look, I'm not like a fanboy for Trevor Lawrence. I'm just saying he hadn't had.
Bengals thinks, 49ers, he'd be lights out.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't given up on him. So a lot of people have. I have not given up on him. Overrated, yes. Right coach, right situation. You know, look at Minnesota. You know,
and not for nothing, Robert. And I'm not a fanboy of Trey Lance, but he has. When they saw that Purdy had more potential than Trey did, and had more IQ, had a better IQ and vision on the field, they let Trey go. But it wasn't that Trey's not a good quarterback. It was the fact that they knew right away that Purdy had already skill set level that Trey was slacking. But it wasn't. And people keep talking about, oh, Trey's not a good QB, and just but he's not. His potential rating was high when he came out. He hadn't had the opportunities to be an NFL QB. Now, and if anything happens in Dallas, they have Trey Lance sitting there. You think Jerry Jones is going to go out and look for somebody else? If
I
Dak
don't know.
Get,
they're paying Dak $60 million for a reason. Lance may be a miss, but then again, I don't know. I'm looking at what Green Bay's doing with Malik Willis and O'Connell's doing with Sam Darnold. I don't know what to believe nowadays. You know?
Yeah, but
I don't know what to believe. I'm not really to label anybody a total bust, other than maybe Tennessee's
Levis. we sat here and said that the guy has an arm and he has confidence, but can he be a true NFL QB? We rated him as a backup.
Yeah,
Robert, you and I said he'd be a good backup.
Because you saw a lot of him at Kentucky, like I did, and I did see the arm strength and everything, but I also see a lot of quit in him at Kentucky too, when Tennessee was beating the crap out of him. So let's move on to the 5 games that I sent you, not the 1,000 that you sent me back.
Yeah, I was.
What did you do? Did you? Was it like a job interview? Or did you just want to see the Phillies and the Mets last week?
No, it was. It was the last week that they were playing at Citi Field.
Okay.
I was invited. We went to a group of the school that I help out over here locally.
Okay, you said heavy hitters. I don't know if some people you like some business opportunity or something.
Yeah,
but then again, I thought you may have been talking about the Phillies because they're really good, you know.
Oh man, they were there and stomped the Mets that night.
12-2.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but guess who won the series though? So I wasn't there for those games. So the Mets won on Thursday. The Mets won on Thursday. They won on Saturday, and they won on Sunday. They didn't win when I showed up, but they won the series.
Okay. So last week, let's see. I sent you. Let's see. All right. Shohei Ohtani. Yeah, let's talk about, since I got you here, Green Bay, Tennessee. I thought maybe they should have just benched Levis at halftime when he threw that another pick 6. Woo! I've cooled down since then. But another pick 6, Jar Alexander. Malik Willis looking like, my dad was sending me a text. He's like, man, this guy looked like John Elway in that Green Bay system against Tennessee. What's your thoughts about that? That's one of the games that you picked, Tennessee. I did pick we both picked Tennessee, excuse me.
I expected Tennessee's defense to come out a little harder.
Me too.
Knowing that they that the Green Bay takes time to score, you know, and I think that Green Bay has got a system and they play the quarterback for the way that they should play the quarterback with the skills that they have, and they just kind of, you know, run the ball and they just, you know, don't give up the big plays, and they help their quarterbacks look like they're professional quarterbacks, which is what you're supposed to do when these guys are young, which is why Love looks like a great quarterback. And I've been telling people that, like, they're just giving him the opportunity to play and managing him, mini managing him like they should. And they're going to do that with Malik. You know, he ain't going to go out there and they ain't going to be like, we know you have an arm, go ahead and throw it and not, you know, worry about your accuracy. Which I think, and I told you, and I said that Malik is not a bad QB. He's not a bad QB. You just got to have a better coach. And
I thought he was not an NFL. That's the biggest surprise of the year, right? I thought this guy should be in USFL.
Yeah, you've been saying that, and I said no. He's legit. He just got, you know what it was, is he was lacking confidence and he was lacking that motivation from his coach and understanding from the coach. And now he's in the system that he, you know, he's being open-minded and he's a backup and he doesn't have to be that, you know, carry all that weight, you know. So
what's your thoughts on Levis and how Tennessee's playing it?
I think that Tennessee has to shorten the rope a little bit on Levis. Just micromanage him.
That's what Keith said. You know,
micromanage him a little bit more. Let them run the ball. Tennessee, apparently Tennessee was supposed to have one of the best running combos in the NFL after getting rid of Henry, and getting two of the fastest and
They've
youngest.
gotten away from it. Yeah,
and
true.
they need to set up a game plan where the QB doesn't have to win the game. He just has to manage the game to win, right? Which is different. It's too different because then you allow the team to score points and you don't have to be the one pressing. When you press like that and you don't have confidence, you're gonna see it. And for him, for someone like
Would you
Levis,
would have benched Levis 7 turnovers in 3 games? Or would you just keep playing him at this point? It's only 3 games though. The flip side.
like the problem is that his potential. Like Bryce Young got benched because nobody saw anything positive coming out from him in Carolina in every single game. He was just running in circles. Levis isn't running in circles. They're just not scoring points and not setting themselves up to win. So you can't. If you have a terrible play call, if they bench him, they're saying that they're doing right by him, and they're not using his skill level. They're not coaching him up the right way in Tennessee. And the problem is that the defense is not performing enough to allow the offense to do what they're supposed to do, right? So
you that you must not be watching these games all the way. You must. You got Red Zone.
Yeah. Well, let me say, the last 2 games, the first 2 games, the defense was good.
Yeah, number 1 in the league in yards allowed.
Yeah, so there's because the offense is not scoring enough points, the defense has to be on the field longer. And the turnovers is not helping for sure, but there has to be something. Are you giving up on Levis? You want somebody else?
Well, I'm at the point now.
To bench him. But if you want to see him fulfill
at least
potential,
bench him, so let him gather his thoughts for a minute and put yourself in position to win games. Now, I will say this: Rich Ferris he was my guest on Tuesday. Great week, by the way. I want to thank everybody for coming on this great week. Nicholas Petit-Farid, the right tackle. I don't know what happened to John Robertson, the general manager, but man, that guy he struck out like nobody's business. This guy has allowed the most pressures of any right tackle in the league through 3 games. Richard's saying the line is not holding up, other than this guy on the J.C. Latham is killing it at left tackle. So other than the Bears game, they have been getting crushed in on that other side. And talking to you and Keith, maybe they should just simply simplify the playbook for the guy. But 7 turnovers, I don't like his body language. I don't like the turnovers. He seems to be pointing a finger. He's overly cocky for whatever reason. I don't know. He's kind of reminding me of Zach Wilson. Maybe I give him another shot. I would have benched him in Green Bay and see what happened and maybe brought him back. But I'm telling Rand Carthon, go out and start scouting some other quarterbacks.
Yeah, but tell Ray Carthon that he needs to get a better. He needs to start also getting a team around him and the offense that's going to give him the opportunity. They were eating them up in Tennessee. They were cloud covering them. They was doubling up on the wide receivers and a young QB is not who's trying to protect the ball and in essence ends up giving up the ball because he's pressing. Right. So, and he can't
fill the pass rush. I just don't get it.
So it's not just if you bench him, he gets less time on the field to get better. I think that's right, Pickle. I think
he thinks he is Patrick Mahomes.
I think he is on a high because he's a starting QB in an NFL that he's not going to be touchable, right? Like I'm the number one. Even my backup is not. He's not. What is he going to do if he comes out like I'm the franchise player now? And I think that attitude he needs to drop, and he needs to think about being a QB.
Yeah, not be humble, man. Prove it on the field,
Yes. That.
So Pickle says it's called delusional. Yeah, I mean, so that it is what it is with him. They're probably going to have to hit the restart button, but they got a good team. The line's going to get better. The D is good.
I mean, he is a reset button. You have to understand. So how many games are you giving Levis?
Remember, he played last year. He played 9 games last year.
Yeah. So what is your plan if that's your?
I said if they started 1-4, I bench him. Well, they're 0-3. Maybe if he does good, they beat Miami. Miami's on like their second or third string guy. They're between Tyler Huntley and that other guy. I didn't even give that game to you to pick because this is just garbage here. But the light bulb could go off. I said the same thing about Jordan Love a year and a half ago. The light bulb went off. Maybe Richard is right. The timing could be because there's a lot of turnover in players there. The timing could be just off just a tad here. He's had some good throws. Great throw he had to Calvin Ridley a couple weeks ago in the Jets game. And then another one to Okonkwo in week 1. I was so disgusted last game. I don't even watch it. I just look at the box score and what I just didn't want to look at that guy in a Green Bay game. And you're right, the defense really got punked. But Green Bay's talented, though, and they just everything's working for them. I mean, every single player's hitting for Green Bay.
Everything works for Green Bay outside of Green Bay. When they have to win in the division, it's like a chess match for every team.
Oh, they got a good one coming up Sunday, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. Okay, so we pounded the Tennessee Titans. What's your thoughts about Chargers, Pittsburgh? I think you picked Pittsburgh to win too. I picked Pittsburgh to win. I think Pittsburgh's a little bit of fool's gold there with Justin Fields. Defense is airtight. No injuries on defense. I don't think it's sustainable, but they do look good now, and they are 3-0. What's your thoughts about that game?
Yeah, so the Chargers went with Herbert. They were saying Herbert was going to play. He wasn't going to play.
Sprain, yeah.
Yeah, and then so I was like, if they don't even know what they want, that's already a dead giveaway that they're not going to play this game hard because they waited until the last minute to call him and to call him in and put him on for the game day roster. So I was like, Pittsburgh is they're getting their mental strong. They're not scoring any points, but their defense is also allowing their offense to be on to try to get there. So their offense needs to pick it up. You're right. Justin Fields seems like a little bit like fool's gold, but eventually it's going to click. And Justin Fields has been known to be inconsistent. So they have the team.
Yeah.
They have the team.
There's a stay of execution right now for this second 11. But yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm in the mindset of if Wilson's healthy, I try to get him back in there. But they're putting maybe internally they're putting a lot of faith in new offensive coordinator Arthur Smith, who did turn around Ryan Tannehill's career when he was a Titan. So we'll see.
Did he turn around Ryan Tannehill's career, or did Ryan Tannehill get better players around him to be better quarterback? Because I
give him a lot of credit for Tannehill.
Yeah,
not all the credit. But he gets some of that credit there.
You get a little bit of credit. He had 2 seasons where he was okay. But the problem is that he couldn't stay on the field anyway. So, you got
I said this the other day. If Tannehill's on that team, they're probably 2-1, possibly 3-0 with the Titans. Yeah,
but then he wouldn't play game 4 or game 6.
Mistakes,
Yeah, he wouldn't play game 4 or game 6, and then he'll miss 2.
Well, yeah, he's gotten injured. That's maybe why he got picked up.
But taking it back to Arthur and Pittsburgh, he is always like Arthur. You can say he's okay if he has the playmakers on his offense to run his offense. To force somebody to run your offense though, and not have that skill set, will he prefer Wilson over Fields? I think Pittsburgh's doing good by Fields, giving him the opportunity to keep playing and getting more reps. And
you may have a torn locker room up there.
Yeah, well,
because the players probably like Fields because he's a well of an athlete, and he's a
right. They want to see what they see on the practice field, but your consistent player is older and he's a lot more likely to get injured. So. And I like Russell Wilson. I'm a fan of his, and he still can win you 4 or 5 games. I feel like, because he's got a good head on his shoulders.
We're gonna play the hot hand. I agree with you and Pickles, and we'll see. I mean, my guess is Wilson will get a shot sometime this season. I don't think he's not going to see the field. Not unless he just stays hurt. I don't know, but
no,
he will F it up eventually. You know,
if Russell Wilson plays 4 games, Russell Wilson will win 4 games. If Russell Wilson has to play in 10 games, Russell Wilson will win 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, he's an older player. You know, he can't get away like Fields. I mean, we'll see. We'll let it play out. I should probably bring on Ralph Williams back and see what he thinks about Wilson. As long as they keep that defense healthy, but it's hard to keep that many players healthy, you know, in this NFL where everybody seems to be banged up per se. Okay, you did have me beat on this one. Minnesota was a house of fire for Houston. Minnesota's number 2 in my power ranking this week. I thought that they would come down to quarterback play. I thought Stroud would outduel Sam Darnold. Totally destroyed him. Great job. I think Flores is probably not head coaching material, but I think he's elite coordinator material. He's like Spagnuolo, man, with the Chiefs, man. I don't know how he's doing it, man. What's your thoughts about Minnesota totally shellacking Houston like that? Wow.
I think Minnesota is going to be everybody's thorn on the side, but they might not make the playoff. You know what I'm saying? So
they could get figured out.
It's hard to tell right now because of the QB situation, and we don't know what Darnold's potential is because he's never reached it before in the different places that he's been. So now they're letting him be on the field. Now he's allowing to use his arm, allowing to use, they got a decent team up there. They put him around a decent team. They got a decent defense. That coach is a heck of a coach.
Yeah.
He gets everything out of his players.
Do you think Darnold's going to have a breakout season? I would say a comeback season because he was a never was with the Jets. Right. This would be a breakout season. Is he going to be the next Rich Gannon where he goes to another team and has a really good career, like an MVP career year?
He could be the next Trent Dilfer. Where
Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Where he was older.
That's a good analogy, actually.
Where he got older, the more teams he played for, the older he got, the better and better he was understanding. And again, these coaches, man, these new coaches, use your player skill level. Don't force something on.
Don't force your system on him.
Yeah, because it's just
these that's guys, what Andy Reid does. Yeah,
this is not. These players aren't machines, man. They're not robots, and they're not. And it becomes not fun sometimes. When you see a quarterback having fun, you usually get more. You get more out of him. Like, look at this guy in Seattle. Like, he's having fun, man.
Geno Smith's doing pretty well.
Rejuvenating his career, and
yeah,
he's looking
he
like
usually fades towards the end, though.
But
every year he fades towards the last 2 years he's been with Seattle, but maybe it's different this year. You got a new coach. Moving right along, I do think Minnesota's hot. I think Houston will rebound. Houston had some injuries last week that caught up with them at running back. The Saints, I thought they had the Eagles, man, but the Eagles defense really stepped up. Kudos to that Eagles D. Your boy Saquon Barkley, former Giant. Man, I know the Giant fans hated that. 147-2. Helped me win a good fantasy game. I want to thank Saquon for that. I've been calling him overrated for years. What about the Eagles? No A.J. Brown, short week on the road. Beat the best offense in the league, man. New Orleans last week.
Yeah, and they just didn't score enough. New Orleans should have scored 1 or 2 more points.
Saints had a shot at the end, didn't they?
Yeah. So they had to be careful with that game because they were playing a Super Bowl team, and they didn't. They thought that they were the team to beat, and that was a good game physically and mentally for both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just going to show that no matter how much confidence you have, no matter how high your record is, you got to still play football. You still got to go out there and put the points on the board. And when you got a team like the Eagles, you can't just score you can't score 21 points and be like, yeah, we're going to slow down.
Yeah, well, they only scored
I don't know if that's if that was a coaching fault or a player's mindsets that kind of just were like, we got this because we've scored so much already, and you can't do that. You step on the gas and just go, man. Let your hair flow in the wind, man.
Yeah, it was a great adjustment by defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. Holding, they were the number one offensive points wise, 40-something points on Dallas. And I mentioned before that Philly sports guy even mentioned this, that the Saints always match up well against the Eagles. That was a big morale builder even though Hurts didn't have that big a game, that was a big morale builder for the whole team for that Eagles last week. I don't know how long it lasts, because if you hear the injuries they got this week, you'd be like, dang. But anyways, good win there.
I like that you mentioned Barkley, because that is a kind of running back you want.
What's up, Jeremy?
What up, Jeremy? That's the kind of running back you want
here in a little bit
to take the game over. He asked for the ball, and he did what he could with his skill level to get them to the next level, or to get them a point, to get them on the board. So that's
lean on that running game. Don't put it all on your quarterback.
Exactly, and that's what
don't make him the running back.
That's guys like Saquon, guys like those are top 5 running backs, top 8 that's what they do. And if you don't give them the ball, like Seattle, when they just threw the ball, Russell Wilson, they had Marshawn Lynch right there, and they don't run the ball.
That's true. I'm sure Seattle fans don't want to hear that again. So is Baltimore back? That was a pretty good win there. Moved the ball up and down the field on Dallas last week. Got off to Schneid there and got a win.
And that's the team to do it on. I think Baltimore was smart about the fact that they understood who they were playing. I think they went out there to build their confidence and to get a win, and then just because the expectation of being a winner and being the first in your division, and you're not there right now, and you haven't done it on the field yet. This was a team that you could have done it on. Dallas Cowboys was a punching bag. They used it. They practiced on them. Now they can get serious and be like, look, we did play Dallas. They do give up a lot of runs, but we gotta play better than we played against Dallas, and you just build yourself up from there. If you don't do that and you say, oh well, we're just gonna play and beat teams, you're selling yourself short, right? It's a long season. But that was a smart coaching move. That was a smart team move to just be like, this team is giving up, yards. Let's press them. And they did, and it was good for them.
Big game for Derrick Henry. Another fantasy game. He won me. Yeah. What do you think about now Jacksonville Buffalo? You tied me with the win over Minnesota, and now I'm back up by 1 because I took Buffalo. You just have a thing against Buffalo. I took Buffalo. You took Jacksonville. 47 points. So Buffalo, is Buffalo better because Stephon Diggs offensively? I think Diggs was addition by subtraction, getting rid of Diggs, in my opinion. What do you think about that? MVP year so far for Josh Allen, excuse me.
Yeah, so I don't think the league knows how to – they don't have anything on them yet. Like, they don't know how to defend, and they know that Josh Allen can rip them up.
This new look offense.
Yeah, so I don't think the league is like ready for Buffalo as far as like their schemes, their new schemes. Same quarterback, a few players here and there that are new. The defense is still the same though. Buffalo's always had a decent defense and they play defense decently. So their defense was enough to just put Jacksonville on a, put them on the bench and just let them watch the game from there. But Buffalo's going to have these games. They're going to have these games where they're going to beat the Jets or they'll beat the Buffalo Bills, and then they'll go and just beat Buffalo again. They're going to maybe win 10 games, but they're not going to go past the playoffs and go to a Super Bowl. They're not built like that right now. They have Josh Allen, and that's all they can hang their hat on right now because he's an incredible quarterback, but you need more than that. You need, and I don't think their defense is like great. They're a good defense.
Yeah, their best linebackers has been out for a while, and these young players have stepped up for them better than I thought they would. These young players that they've replaced at safety. Damar Hamlin, he's a great story, having that heart attack, making some plays there as a fill-in safety. We'll see how they play out.
I think the biggest loss that Buffalo has is that they got Von Miller. He's always been a good player, a great player, but now he's past his prime, and
he's way past this point.
and then and he's up there.
They bring him on third downs.
Yeah, and they paychecks ain't a third down paycheck though.
No, it was a bad loss here. We got to get into this week's game. Quick take, Tennessee, Oklahoma, man. 11 tackles for loss. That defense is really playing well. Kevin was right. Nico looked a little shaky at times, looked great at times, but he's only a sophomore technically. What you think about that game, man?
Man, listen, he's my black horse. He's my dark horse for the.
You love that term, black horse.
And I think that Tennessee right now needs the coolest Jets. It's good to have that confidence, but cool your Jets a little bit, and just keep working hard, keep your nose on the grind, and don't listen to what people are saying right now, because Tennessee fans will hype you up and make you feel great about you, even when you only like, even when you have a losing season. So just do what you do, and just know that now you got a target on your back. So be careful, and Heupel's a good coach, and they got a good squad. They did a lot this year to improve on their defense and their offense. So we all have high expectations for Tennessee. Those that are Tennessee fans, and but don't be like Florida and don't be like Miami and be like, yeah, we're gonna conquer the world, because there's still some teams that they got to play, and you're gonna see that competition kind of be. I don't like to say this, but
that was a story of the defensive line,
And remember I mentioned
really Nico.
If the defense, whichever defense plays better, was going to win that game, and Tennessee played a better game defensively, guys. And I just want to say that, like, when you're like Tennessee, now that you're in the middle of the college season, now they got a big target on their back. They got to watch out and just not.
Yeah. It's good they had a bye this week.
Right.
They play at Arkansas next week. Back to the NFL. Philadelphia, Tampa. This is a rematch of last year's first round in the playoffs where Philadelphia got beat. But this week, folks, Phillies, they are favored in this game. But I just now heard that Devontae Smith is going to be out. A.J. Brown likely out again. He didn't play. Lane Johnson coming back from concussion. Lane Johnson's questionable. They said limited practice. That could be standing around on the sideline. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Bucks don't have Antoine Winfield. They may very well have Vita Vea back, their defensive tackle. Bucks got smoked last week by Denver, man. I think the Bucks play well this week, though. They bounce back this week. Don't you think so? They're not going to get beat like that 2 weeks in a row. I like Tampa to win this game.
They were my dark horse last year,
man. Huh?
Yeah. They were my dark horse last year, and
you get a cool. I think they win this game 23-16, upset. The Eagles are really thin there, man. They're pretty thin there offensively. And I think Tampa's going to be. They're going to clamp down on that run defense.
Yeah, I like the defense. I like the coach there, the coaching there, and they're always defensive minded. And I think also the offenses needs to break out a little bit. They can start throwing the ball around on the Eagles, just try to get stuff going. That running game they need to get going. And I think you're right. I think because they're playing in Tampa. They're playing in some of this weather.
Is 2 back-to-back road games for Philly.
That's another thing. And the weather permit too, right? They might cancel this game.
I think it's okay. I think all the weather's passed through Tampa.
So depending on how it goes, I feel like Tampa has an upper hand on this, and they need to take advantage of it. And I think I like Baker's.
Yeah, they're good.
Attitude when he gets beat, he comes back usually, and
they really do.
Plays up, so
you like Tampa too? I thought you was gonna take the Eagles there.
No, they had their game against the Saints, and I don't know if they're gonna be enough. I don't know if they had enough rest from
Pickles
that.
thinks the same thing. Yeah, to stand up should be good after the hurricane. That's right, Pickles. on the hurricane there. The wind blew through. Tampa caught a break there. Okay, this is really, I'm going to talk about Kansas City and the Chargers. How lucky can the Chiefs be? Listen to these injuries, guys. The Chargers don't have Joe Alt at left tackle. They don't have Rashawn Slater at right tackle. They don't have their lead pass rusher, Joey Bosa. Their safety, Derwin James, got suspended for headhunting. And you know that Justin Herbert has got an ankle injury. And, Chiefs, here's the game for you. Here's the game. The Chiefs are 7-point favorites coming in. This is in L.A. Chiefs typically play these games better on the road. I think Chiefs roll here, man, 24-9. It could be worse. Chiefs win and cover because they just keep catching break after break after break. What do you think, man? Chargers, Chiefs, thought it was going to be good. Now, not so much. Too many injuries for the Chargers right now.
Yeah, and we don't always talk about this, but their bread and butter, their bread is their defense, and their butter is their offense. So
for
that
Chiefs
defense,
or Chargers?
Yeah, the Chiefs. So that defense
yes.
is going to be chomping at the bit to knock this guy out of the game if they can, for sure. And if they don't knock him out of the game, they're going to give him as much trouble as possible. And Herbert, he can run in circles when he has a good ankle, but he's not gonna do it on a bad ankle, right? So he's gonna try to stay in the pocket as much as possible just to protect himself, and that's not how the Chargers are built. So I see them scoring a few points, but I don't see them scoring more than 21. And
okay, I like that. More optimistic.
27-17. I think it's going to be like
24-9. Yeah, Pickles. Yeah,
I think it's going to be 32-14. I think the Chiefs are going to lay it on them.
Yes, yeah. You're saying they're going to cover. So does Pickles. We all agree. We agreed Minnesota would beat the 49ers a few weeks ago. That turned out to be a great cut there. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, this is a great game. Minnesota, Green Bay. I tell you what.
I like this game.
The networks would love, guys. They would love to flex this out in the prime time, but they can't do it the first few weeks. What is it like after week 8 or 9 that they get the opportunity to flex games out? I'm so glad that this game is going to be played at 1 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock noon. Minnesota, Green Bay, two very talented teams here. Jordan Love still limited, though, man. And so is cornerback Jay Alexander, who got that pick 6 on Will Levis last week. Last year, folks, Kirk Cousins with Minnesota went into Green Bay and beat Jordan Love 24-10. And then they went down. Then they started having all those injuries at quarterback. And then they went down to McMullins, and Green Bay got hot at the end of the season, repaid the favor, and won like 33-10 or something. Packers are 2.5-point favorites. I actually think Minnesota keeps this train going and wins 4, gets the 4th win here on the road at Green Bay. 27-19, Minnesota wins again. Sam Darnold's going to play, by the way. They got a little scared last week, but he's practiced all week. I like Minnesota to get the road win. What do you think about Green Bay, Minnesota? Much bigger game than what people think it may be.
Yeah, it's going to be close.
Paper anyways.
It's going to be really close. I think it's going to be 28-21. I think Minnesota, they're going in with confidence. This is one of those games, the way that they kind of build themselves out from when the season gets going is the Green Bay game, and they're coaching those guys up well right now. And Green Bay, I've never been a fan of their coaching staff. They have a lot of injuries to their more important players, and that defense. So it's kind of like the Tennessee-Oklahoma game. The defense that plays the best is going to win this game, and I don't think that Green Bay's defense is going to match.
So you like Minnesota too?
I like Minnesota.
Pickle says they exposed me. You guys are big fans of Flores too. I'm sold on Flores as a coordinator. I didn't think you would agree there. We agree, guys.
He gets the players to play above and beyond.
Yes,
which is one of the things that the Patriots, when they had those guys that are like 3rd, 4th round picks on defense, made them play like first and second rounders. So he's
he
a good coach.
really got guys.
He
Really
coaches
hyped
them all. Yeah, he hypes
and
them
Holland here. Okay, this is a tough one right here, guys. I hope, Jeremy, you're listening. Seattle, Detroit. Seattle won at Detroit last year in week 2, 37-31, Jeremy. Detroit's run defense is better this year. I want to say they're 4th, but here's my concern about the Lions. Their center, Ragnu, is out. But this game is in Detroit. I like the Detroit defense. I like the fact that Detroit went to Arizona and held down to 13 points. Detroit got back to what I said they should do, is run that football. Jamar Gibbs, David Montgomery, but more Jamar Gibbs, second-year running backs. That's usually when they really, really excel. I think Detroit wins this, but this is a very close game because Seattle's defense is good. They're a little banged up on their defense. Seattle, but their resume isn't as good as people think. They went overtime against the freaking Patriots. They beat a banged-up Miami team, and they beat a rookie quarterback in opening week here. They got some talent, but I'm not going to overreact. Seattle is a 3.5-point underdog. They may actually cover that from the way they played last year, but I like 24-23. I like the Lions to win this game at home. This will be a good game, though. This will be a very good game. What do you think about that? Seattle at Detroit. If it's at Seattle, I may go the other way.
Right.
But,
yeah.
I do like this here in Detroit. I like your Lions there if you're still watching there, Jeremy.
Yeah, the 12 team is a positive when you're looking at it, but then I don't know how many of them are going to fly to Detroit for this game. And Detroit at home are always a tough, like in the last 2 seasons, always a tough matchup. The crowd's been, getting better and better over there. The fans are doing their thing, and that helps a lot. I think this is going to be an overtime game, man. I think they're going to go in overtime.
Well, the last game did go in overtime.
and I think it's going to be the same, man. It's just going to be a dogfight.
Who wins?
I want Seattle to win, but Detroit will probably win this game.
What's the score?
27-24. Field goal.
Okay, you're flipping the score from Pickles. Pickles says Seattle 27-24.
I wouldn't
be surprised if Seattle didn't win this game.
Yeah, I want Seattle to win this game. And, and look, I'm not a fan of, I'm not a golf fan, right?
Yeah.
So he's
you
more
like to play golf, but not a Jared Goff fan.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
He's more likely to mess this game up than he is to help win this game. And
with the new center, that's the only concern I have.
Yeah.
I'm leaning on their running game and defense for Detroit to come out and get a hold of with Aiden Hutchinson to be able to get a hold of your favorite player, Geno Smith. Let's move on to Baltimore, Buffalo. Ravens have another guard on their offensive line. It's going to be doubtful. Plus their center, Linbaum's questionable. They've had 3 offensive linemen that they've had to replace this year. Ravens are actually favored, though, at home at 2.5 points. Bills had their injuries at the defensive side that they've had for weeks, and they've played really good football. The Bills did play on Monday night, so that's going against the Bills, too. Maybe that's why the odds makers are saying the Ravens are 2.5-point favorites. Bills seem to match up well against the Ravens in the past, however. I like Ravens secondary is not quite what it used to be. They got beat by Gardner Minshew a few weeks ago. They almost blew that game to Dallas. I think the Bills win this game, but it's a lot closer than people think. 24-19, Bills get another win. They go 4-0. Allen beats Lamar Jackson again. What do you think?
This is a home game for the Ravens, right?
This is in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why the Ravens are favored.
Yeah, the Ravens are going to win this game, and they're gonna show out.
Going to say
that they have to, because they're the favorite. They're our favorite in Vegas to win the Super Bowl. They're one of the top 3 favorite teams to win the Super Bowl in Vegas. So they got to prove to people that this is the time that they can that they're gonna get this game going. And you got an MVP in Lamar, like,
yeah.
And you got
so
Henry.
They're gonna get out. They're gonna go 2-3. What's the score then?
I think they're gonna win 32-24.
Okay, Ravens. All right, I'm picking the Bills. Let's move it right along. Alabama, Georgia. Georgia's a 1.5 favorite. First time they've been an underdog since 2007, when Nick Saban's first year Alabama at home being an underdog. That tells you how successful they've been. Love me some Jalen Monroe. Like the way he played against in Wisconsin. I can't believe that they're still underdogs in this game. You picked the score last time, 27-24 in the SEC championship game against these two teams. First big win, I'm predicting 24-21. Alabama gets the upset win over Georgia. Both teams off bye weeks. What do you think, man?
I feel that Georgia's young defensive squad, all the replacements that they have, they've been good. They've been solid. They've been showing up. We don't know what they're, what they're going to be as far as their depth is going to play out. So right now everything's going good for them. Their 5 stars are playing out. And they're
you like team. Georgia too? I
like Georgia to win 28-14. I think they're going to put it down
on the road. Pickle says 27-25 Alabama. That's going to be a great game. It could be tight like that.
Yeah, I want it to be tight, but I don't think it's going to be tight because Alabama has to score. They have to push it, and they.
Okay. We'll see, man. We'll see.
The last few games, I see them taking too much time. They score like the Green Bay Packers, man. It's like, come on, just get the ball in the end zone.
All right. Louisville, Notre Dame's going to be a good one there. Jeff Braun's really good coach there at Louisville. Louisville beat Notre Dame last year. I do think Notre Dame bounces back this year. They're at home. They rebounded from that Northern Illinois loss. I just think that Notre Dame's going to play well. Last year, they had that emotional game against Duke just before they played Louisville. That's not the case this year. This is in South Bend. It's going to be on Peacock. I'm not going to watch it. I should get somebody's password like our friend Keith Engel and watch it. But just kidding. That was a really funny story by Keith the other day. But I like ND, man. 27-23, get the win at home, Riley Leonard. What do you think, man? Louisville?
I think
Jeff
Louisville's
Braun's pretty good coach.
They ain't got nothing to lose. I think it's going to be an upset. It's going to be ugly for Notre Dame. I don't think they have it. I don't think they have enough. So
you like Louisville? What's the score?
I like them to be like 27-14 too.
Okay.
Like
yeah. I'm up 1. If you win, dude, you could take the lead, man. But Pickles never picks the Irish. She says they lose ugly. If they were playing Notre Dame, Pickle man,
today.
Anything else to plug, man? We're over, but it's all good.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to wrap up this season with baseball. The Mets game with Atlanta got postponed to Monday night. They're playing a doubleheader. I know people are disgusted here in New York about that, and the MLB's doing this and doing that. But if you look at the bright side of things, and you're either a Braves or a Mets fan, and I'm going to just finish this with this, is that both teams are getting an opportunity to take a break and recover and have the best 2 teams on that day play their, the day game and the night game, whoever you're going to put on the roster. So, and that's not, I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps to even think that, you get the consistency when you play those games back to back on days, but to play 2 games in one day, you could say it benefits Atlanta, you could say it benefits the Mets, but at the end of the day, these 2 teams didn't play ball, man. I don't care what time they play.
I'm surprised
I don't care what
the Braves are still in it. Pickle says go Braves. Braves are really
pitching staff, man. Braves always that pitcher starts for the Braves, man. It's they're always finding young talent, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, they got a great farm system. Chad says Virginia Tech is giving Miami all they can handle. Miami may be a little overconfident down there. When I get off here, I'll definitely be watching a little bit of that game. See how
I think Miami allows every team in one part of the game you know, at least in one quarter of the game to be like, listen, we're gonna let you play a little bit, and then they just come back and
they're up by 7.
Yeah.
But Miami's driving, so we'll see. We shall see. 21-14, Virginia Tech winning. Come on, Miami. Don't let me down. But I don't have anything on it. I know Virginia Tech always plays them well.
And the NBA, NHL, they're already doing preseason stuff. You know, like it's going to be a packed year this year. You know, I'm hopeful for New York teams, but you know, the one reason they make me mad is because they don't get to the big game, man. So.
All right. Hey, thanks to Carlos. Appreciate you. Thanks, Pickles, Chad, Jeremy, Big Syke, Snoop, Hank. I feel like freaking Tupac here, giving everybody the love on the new album. Oh, man. How to do a throwback. Appreciate you, man.
Outro. Should do an outro with Tupac.
Hey, I'll try that next week. See you, man.